Hi, everybody.
Hey guys, welcome to our webinar. How's everybody doing today?
Hi, Minnie.
Well, I know we normally do these on Friday, but we decided to do it today because tomorrow we're launching a brand new version of the Powerscore, Powerscore 2.0. So we wanted to get a chance to talk with you, explain to you what the changes are, answer any questions you guys have on it. So definitely while we're talking, if you have any questions that are, on topic to whatever, subject we're on, feel free to send them over. And if not, if during, the webinar we don't address one of your questions, at the end, Jordan and I are going to open it up to a Q&A where you can ask anything that we didn't cover.
Definitely. And I think we'll just wait a few more minutes for everyone else to join.
Linda, we actually have a Spanish. Bueno, Linda, de hecho vamos a tener un webinario en español en 3 horas, a las 2 de la tarde, hora de acá. So yo te puedo mandar un link para que puedas inscribirte al español. How's everybody's Tuesday going? How many of you guys have had a chance to actually check out the Powerscore version, the new version in your admin?
Not yet. I think it's been up there since, was it last week? Last Tuesday?
Yeah, I think it's been up there for a little bit. So, Nadia, I definitely recommend after this webinar, go in and check it out because you'll actually be able to see what your power score is with the current one and what it'll be with the new version. And you'll be able to, explore the page and check it out. I think you guys will really like the 2.0. It's definitely a lot more simplified. It's a lot less complicated. There's way less aspects to it. And it's going to be easier for you guys to see how to boost yourselves up and how to increase your power score. And you'll be able to see what areas carry more weight and stuff. And we'll go over that. So I definitely encourage anybody that hasn't checked it out already to, after this webinar, go into your admin and check out the new version before it launches tomorrow.
Definitely. Or even feel free to pull it up now while we're going over it together. That might be helpful for you guys too, just so you can see your own ranks while we're going through the presentation.
So I think we're going to wait a couple more minutes for a couple more people to join, and then we'll get started. But yeah, feel free to send over any questions you guys have just before we start. Do you think maybe in like a minute or two, Jordan, we can get started?
Yeah, okay, yeah, cool. I would say like 11:05, so like 2 more minutes is probably fine. Yes, Lola, I'll hand out the Power Boosts pretty much right after, so about an hour after the webinar is over, they should all be there.
We got a question. Karen, yeah, I'll definitely send you a link for the Spanish webinar, which will be in about 3 hours. Well, I think we could go ahead and get started, yeah?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Perfect. Okay, so I can start, that's fine. So obviously we're going over the new Powerscore 2.0, which is launching tomorrow, which is June 10th. As you guys can see here, it's basically just been, not just been, it has been reimagined. It's a little more accurate with ranking your against other models. Yeah, and we're gonna go over it in detail right now.
So there's going to be a few big changes on the Powerscore 2.0. The first one is that we simplified the algorithm by a lot. So what we did is we reduced and we combined the number of metrics, whereas before when you went in to check your power score, there was over 20 different categories, which was a lot to go over and sort of a lot to sort of process and figure out which categories were the most important and which ones maybe didn't hold as much weight on the score. So we simplified it, we combined some things. And another really cool thing that we added is we added a max score. So before version 1, the one that we're currently on, had an infinite score. There was no limit to how many points you could get to, whereas on the 2.0, the new version, it's not only weighted, but it's capped at 1,000,000 points. So it makes it easier in terms, like Jordan said earlier, to compare to the scores of other performers on the site.
Definitely. So yeah, like what Carlos was saying, they're weighted. So each metric before, they were kind of just like by points, but since now it's capped, they'll come weighted. So like, for example, we'll get in a little more detail later, but like your CPH, your credits per hour, holds a lot more weight than previously. It'll actually be 55% of your score.
Yeah, so what's cool about this is that before, like Jordan said, everything had an equal effect. So with this one, you'll be able to go in to the new Powerscore in your admin and clearly see what percentage each thing holds, so how important each different category is. And there's going to be a lot more relativity. So basically, your score in each category is going to be compared to that same category and performers in that same category. So like, for example, the CPH, like mentioned Jordan, or the hours online, your total score that you get is going to be in comparison to the other models that are on the site at the same time as you. And of course, it has a new look. We simplified it. It's a lot more sleek. And the new look of it is going to make it so it's a lot easier for you to identify sort of the areas that you're doing really well on, and maybe some areas that you could work a little harder in to improve that overall score.
Exactly. And there's just a couple questions I just wanted to go over really quick. Martin and Minnie, the new Powerscore system, most people's scores didn't really change that much with the new 2.0 version. But what it can do is, because it's more simplified, like Carlos just said, you're able to see what areas you need to improve on to improve your score. So it's just a little more clear for you guys.
Yeah, so like Minnie, for example, let's say this was your Powerscore in your admin. You looking at this would clearly be able to see that your CPH is killing it. So you don't have to worry about that. Maybe put in a little bit more hours so that that bar fills in more, since the hours is worth 5%. And then you see that the boxes in green you already have. But online notifications or video intro haven't been uploaded. So it'll make it easier for you guys to be able to see what areas you can, like uploading a video, and you'll get more points. So it'll be easier for you to identify what things you can do to improve your overall score. And then here, like Jordan said, these are the 4 most important categories. So these 4 categories are going to have the biggest effect on your overall score. These 4 are going to account for 85% of the total score. So your CPH, your credits per hour, will be 55% of the total score. Distinct spenders, 15%. Hours online, 5%. And guest converted, 10%. And what's cool about this is that, like, these 4 kind of intertwine with each other. If you're spending more hours online, you're going to get to meet more customers. So you're going to have more distinct spenders. You're going to have the opportunity to convert a lot more guests. And through converting guests and through getting more spenders and getting to know more people, your CPH is going to go up. So these 4 are kind of all interlocked. And they're going to be the 4 categories in your Powerscore that are going to hold the most weight for the overall score.
Exactly. These metrics are going to update every 10 minutes for you guys on the site. And then your CPH, it's actually going to take the best CPH that you have, essentially, which is great, because before it was kind of just like, I think it was just overall, right, Carlos?
It was the CPH for like the current past 7 days.
Right. And so now it's going to look at the last 1 day, 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, and then your lifetime CPH, and pick the very best one, which is awesome, especially if maybe you're having a day that might be slower and you're like, oh, man, this really sucks. Like, my score is going to go down. Not necessarily if 2 weeks ago, you had a great day and your score was higher because that was maybe your best one so far. or even for those of you who maybe are newer on the site and you haven't had a lot of hours or a lot of traffic or whatever it might be yet, that's awesome because maybe your one good day or you had one good day, that's going to be your best CPH. So it's really going to choose the best one, which is great. And then your interactions are based on the last 14 days. I think in the old version, it was just the last 7.
Yeah, and what's really cool too is like Jordan was saying, like if your lifetime CPH is really high and you historically have a really high CPH and you have one bad day, it won't necessarily have such a bad effect because your lifetime CPH will still be really high. And then on the other end, if your CPH is usually pretty good, you know, maybe a good average, but then you log in today and you have a crazy good high CPH, it'll take effect immediately because it's going to take into account all the CPHs and then take your highest one. So if your CPH today is super high, your ranking today will go super high. So it'll definitely be really helpful in terms of you being able to see that immediate effect. And then we have the other categories.
Yeah, so we have some other metrics when you go to your page down below. And so these categories are, I don't want to call them like the other category, but they're not as heavily weighted. So all these totaled up is worth 15% of your score. It's a little small, but there's the options there are your favorites. There's a video introduction, notifications, photos, and Flirt University. So you'll see on some of them, they're out of a total amount of a score. Like for example, the favorites, it's out of 2,500. So once you reach 2,500 favorites, it turns green, and then you're gonna get the percentage of power score increased for that one box, essentially. Customer boosts aren't necessarily labeled on here, but they still carry the exact same weight as they did with the first version of the power score.
Yeah, and with these, when you guys go to your admin and see these PowerScore sections, the boxes that are displaying in green, you have the full points for, whereas the ones that are in red, you are not receiving points for currently. So, you know, categories like the Flirt University quizzes or the video introduction, once you upload that video or once you do all 9 quizzes, you have all the points. Same with the gallery photos. Once you uploaded at least 50, you get the full points. What's cool about the favorites and the online notifications is like, you know, let's say you're newer to the site, so you haven't had, you know, necessarily as much time to interact with maybe 2,500 customers to favorite you. In your case, you can still get max points on these because it'll look at your average per hour. So like if your average, like when you're online, you're getting a good amount of people favoriting you or a good amount of people setting an online notification for you, you'll see this box green. So like if you ever see this box green and you know you don't have, you know, 2,500 favorites, for example, it's taking your average number of customers that are favoriting you per hour, so you get the max points. So that's what's another thing that's really cool about this power score is that because it's weighted and it's relative to other people on the site, it gives newer models the opportunity to also have a really good power score because it's going to be taking the average compared to everyone on the site. So it's not like you need to have 500 favorites per hour. It's compared to how many favorites other models are getting per hour. So if you're in that, you know, in a good percentage relative to everybody else, you'll get the full points.
Yeah, definitely just a lot more like fair. I guess it makes more sense this way. Awesome. And so the new power score is on, essentially it's on like a curve. So if we look at these charts here, the new power score is on the top, the new power score system, and the one below is the older one. So it's basically looking at all the scores relative to each other and adjusts accordingly. So this way it's just more fair. I don't really know any other way to put it besides it's just more fair, and it's kind of, you can see that on the charts here.
Yeah, and like one example would be like, you know, hours online. That's one of the top 4, you know, most influential categories in the power score. So if everybody right now, like if all the models on the site are working an average of like, let's say 20 hours, that's sort of the top. But if next week, you know, 50% of models start working an extra 10 hours, that top of how many hours are needed is going to go up. Or if everyone worked 10 less hours. So the power score is going to be adjusting relative to what you guys are doing, so relative to what all the models on the site are doing in terms of hours, in terms of CPH. So that's why when you see the graph, it's a lot more even and it's going even kilter, because it's not us saying this is how much you guys have to make, or this is how many hours are needed. The Powerscore is basing it on what you guys are averaging, you know, in the moment, like right now. So that's another thing that's really cool, is that it's, as you know, things change on the site, the Powerscore will be changing along with it, so that you guys are able to maintain a high Powerscore if you're, you know, keeping up with what other models on the site are doing. Before we go forward, do you guys have any questions on either the curve or on the main four metrics or on the other boost, the green and red boxes we went over?
Yeah, we've kind of gone over a lot. If you guys haven't yet, or just wait to the end, it's totally okay.
Yeah, and if you guys don't have questions yet, totally cool. We could keep going to the percentile rank. Let's see.
Okay. I don't see anyone typing yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and start going over this one. So this is going to rank the other performers of the same gender, just like it was before. It was split up between boys and girls. And the top 50%, if you're in the top 50%, you'll have access to the email marketing, blocking guest chat, party chat, and group chat as well. And you need to earn at least 500 credits and broadcast at least 5 hours in the last 7 days to get this rank. And I see someone's typing a question, hopefully.
No, it's automatic, Martin. So once you enter the top
Yeah.
50%, you'll be able to start party, group chat, you'll be able to block guest users, or if you go into your admin, you'll have access to the Mail Blast tool, as long as you've earned 500 credits and done at least 5 hours in the last 7 days. So as long as you meet those requirements and you're in the top 50%, you'll automatically have access to these 4 things.
Awesome.
And that's basically the Powerscore 2.0 and how it's going to work and how you guys can sort of use it to your advantage and boost yourselves up. So if any of you guys have any questions or either on the Powerscore itself or in any of the categories, feel free to type them in the chat. Hey, Chanelly. And also, if some of you guys maybe haven't gone into your admin yet and checked it out, once you go in and check it out, if you have any questions, feel free to send them over. I will send the email here.
Awesome. And Martin, no, you don't start from scratch tomorrow. It's going to just transition to this new 2.0 system. Most model score isn't really changing much at all. If it is changing, it's probably only by a few percent up or down. So really, no starting from scratch.
Yeah, so it'll be based on your stats, like your current stats. But what's really cool is that with this new version, you know, like we were talking about earlier, if you log in tomorrow and you have a really great day and your CPH is a lot higher than it normally is, you're going to see those results right away. So you're going to see that you're going to be ranking at a much higher spot on the main site. Or, you know, maybe if you've never uploaded a video intro, if you upload it now, that's going to have a bigger impact now on your Powerscore because it's one of the other boost categories. So it'll just be easier starting tomorrow for you to sort of gauge where you're at and sort of see what areas you need to improve on.
Exactly. I know Nadia asked a question here. The customer side, nothing is changing there. And the power boost for you guys is still going to hold the same weight as it did before with the first version. So nothing's changing there.
And Janet, those categories, they're all similar in percentage, but they do carry different weights. In the gallery photos, the video intro, things like that. The only thing that remains the exact same as before, like Jordan said, are member boosts.
Exactly. And then Ivana, I want to say it's midnight tonight.
It's midnight Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern.
Yeah. And Chanel, yeah, actually for everyone that watched this, once this webinar is over, give it like 2-3 minutes. And if you go back to this page, you'll be able to rewatch the entire stream all the way through. And yeah, so, if you guys have any other questions, send them over. Also, if you guys have certain, doubts on the site in general and you'd like us to do a webinar on different subjects, feel free to email them over so we can schedule some more of these webinars for you guys. And yes, Martin, customers will still be able to boost you guys the same way as before, and the boost will carry the same weight. So there's no change in how the member boosts affect your power score. When we created the 2.0 version, we made sure that while some of the other metrics may have changed and like how much weight they carry have changed, the boost for members work in the exact same way. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. And again, any questions, send them over our way. And let's see. So if you're in your admin, when you go to the 2.0 version, it should show you where you're ranking or what the score would be once it switches at midnight. But if you have any questions, just email us directly and we can go over the 2.0 with you one-on-one.
Exactly. Martin, customers can hit the notify button from your room or in your bio. So they'll either get an email or they can always add you to their favorites list. And when you're online, you'll show right up at the top of the page as well. So you have a couple options there.
And you could always let customers know by putting it in your topic. You could use room receptionist at certain times or for certain hours in the day to try to promote customers to either favorite you or set an online notification. And Nadia, yeah, the assist@flirt4free.com, that's our general support email. So you can send an email over to that and somebody from our support team will help you out.
And then Chanelli, you'll only get customer boost, not if someone's like rewatching a video, but just when you're like actively live in like an open chat or party chat or something like that.
Yeah, the videos or the VODs would help you in your power score in terms of your CPH because if you're earning credits from videos, that'll help increase your CPH. Or you could upload a video intro to your bio, which is more like introducing yourself and giving a little background on you. And then that would give you points towards the overall score.
All right. Any other questions, guys? Otherwise, you can always email us. It's okay.
Well, guys, I hope you guys are super excited for the Powerscore 2.0. I think that once it gets started, you guys are really going to love this new version a lot more. And like Jordan said, any questions you guys have, feel free to send them over. And thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Send us an email if you need anything, okay?
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.